would say that Dominoes is
quite simple in its idea.
It was a living sculpture.
You have a line of knee-high concrete blocks
laid out over 2 kilometres.
that travels through the city.
Close roads, we stop trams, we cross rivers.
The items that form a city, for one day, they get to disrupt it.
What it is as a project is a catalyst for something much greater.
It is about people coming together to create something that would be impossible to do on our own.
Dominoes was created by the UK-based company Station House Opera in 2009, and it's since taken place in more than a dozen cities around Europe. I travelled to Stockholm and witnessed the project firsthand. And what struck me about it initially was just the sheer audacity of the project.
It just captured my imagination so strongly, and I felt it was a perfect project for Melbourne, that Melburnians would embrace it, that they would love it.
Because I think it appeals to something fairly fundamental in human beings, you know. It's a sense that often urban environments are kind of restrictive, and your life is restricted by these concrete buildings, and actually what we're doing is taking something which buildings are made of, but actually making them move about. It's a slightly delinquent kind of behaviour that this line has. It jumps through windows and crosses roads where it's not supposed to cross roads, and it does all the things which we'd like to be able to do. I came away thinking this could be a perfect project for the Betty Amsden Participation Program.
The Betty Amsden Participation Programme is a programme that's around art for everybody. So it provides opportunities for people to come together who might not normally meet, to celebrate our commonality as people as well as our diversity. It was a different project to Play Me On Yours and Home in the way that we would go about doing it. There is no artwork without them out on the streets building it.
It was really about them being part of the artwork and handing over to them to make an artwork happen. We held 3 training sessions the week before the event, and that gave the volunteers an opportunity to come in and actually learn how to do their volunteering roles from the company themselves and give the volunteers a real sense of exactly what they'd signed up for.
Who would have thought that it was so technical setting dominoes up?
It was a little challenging. There were a few things that you have to keep in mind every time that you put in every single domino.
You actually need to put the blocks quite carefully. There has to be a clean edge. We had thousands of chocks so that they could be leaning in a particular way. We had lengths of rope that were marked off at exactly the interval that the dominoes needed to be apart from each other to fall properly.
People were really working together and proud of their line that fell down, which was only a taste of what was to come, of course, on the day. But it felt like a community coming together in each of those training sessions.
It's such a great way for people to interact, whether they're just looking and observing and having fun watching the event unfold.
Not everybody feels artistic, like they can paint or draw, but this is something people can be involved in.
Because often art seems like something we can just watch, and this is something that anyone can participate in and be part of.
I think it's a very good initiative to bring all people from all walks of life together and, give them a sense of ownership that, this project belongs to them.
By the end of the session, there was an anticipation of joy, of they were going to do something and be involved. And they took it on.
This is the first time that it's been presented outside of Europe, so it had its challenges of the distance from Melbourne to London.
We walked the city, we walked the suburbs, and we just started exploring different locations. Julian said it would be great to go through St Paul's Cathedral, for example.
I love the idea. I'm a big fan of bringing fun things into the cathedral, so my role there is really to make use of the space in a secular way.
We found a lot of the businesses felt quite moved that we wanted to work with them and that we were taking this project out into the streets. And they all embraced it very, very warmly and really grabbed hold of the opportunity.
Because of wanting the main library to end at the Arts Centre, we were kind of limited to the CBD area. We really wanted to show that Melbourne is a lot more than that.
So we spent 3 days filming in suburban Melbourne. So we went to a real variety of different Melbourne suburbs.
It was kind of linking these actually quite far away areas of the city and then bringing that together into one succinct line and the blocks connecting those different parts of the city.
I believe this is a community event. That's why it should involve a lot of other suburbs and people around Melbourne and be part of that community as a whole.
This gives us a chance to stand beside the tourists, etc., and say, well, yeah, we're Atherton Gardeners, we're proud of this, we love this, and this is us. And I think that's important for the community to do that.
So on event day, we firstly dropped out a whole bunch of pallets of blocks, put them out all around the city. Then at 10 o'clock, we had the volunteers come along.
But what was really overwhelming was that excitement of the volunteers. They've been told what section they're in, they're ready to go, they're taking photos and chatting to each other with people they'd recognised from the training sessions.
It's gone very well, actually. We got all the blocks in place. We did remarkably well on time. Storeholders have been great.
And the best part of it was actually meeting people in your section, and we're from all walks of life. We've got different backgrounds.
At first I was laughing about how much we were briefed on how to do the Dominoes thing, but ultimately it is a bit technical and you don't want anything to go wrong. You do want the block to fall on a really nice edge and to hit the block in front of it in the right place.
The love and respect that they showed for the project, for Arts Centre Melbourne and for Betty with all of the passers-by was I thought really remarkable. They were all the best salespeople that you could ever hope for.
The thing that I've enjoyed the most is meeting with people and people coming up being really curious, like, are these Dominoes? And especially like tourists who are obviously speaking another language, but then you just hear the word domino. It's like, yes, this is Dominoes.
It was drawing people in, and so it might be 300 people, but everyone who's watching it, who's talked to somebody about it, is part of it too.
I think that's an amazing display of community and what art in public spaces can be. So I'm just excited not only to see what happens, but just to have been a part of that.
So once the line's actually built, that's when everything becomes a bit more tense because it's very vulnerable and anybody could push it over, and especially on busy streets, people could just accidentally knock it over. So there's an element of kind of wanting to protect it and guard it and not let it go too soon.
And then we were ready to go. Once it started, it wasn't going to stop.
It was just this amazing sense of excitement and anticipation in the crowd.
Because it's impossible to see the whole line. So people were making choices. Will I stay here and watch this, or will I get over to the forecourt of the Arts Centre so I can see the finale?
And the cheer that went up. Betty leapt out of her seat and we're all up on our feet, everyone's cheering.
And to see their faces, it was overpowering. It was awesome.
A pile of blocks knocking each other over. To give that much joy is really, kind of an amazing thing.
I just took a moment just to look away from the Dominoes and to look at the crowd, and that sense of community, that sense of being part of something bigger than our own individual lives. It was amazing.
When it's finished, there's this really nice moment where everybody gets to play with the blocks. And I will say that I haven't seen that many people take blocks home for a while on a Dominoes project. So people kind of take a memento from the project. And people really stuck around as well. They didn't just all rush off. There was definitely a feeling that the city kind of remained in a different state.
I've got only one word for it. It was awesome.
My last reaction was, oh yes.
Exhausted, but it's a really good exhausted.
Everyone was really excited and you could really feel the energy.
It was really important to us that there be a moment to thank the volunteers for their work, but also each volunteer is in a section and they can't see the whole line. So it's also an opportunity to bring them all together at the end of the day and to show them the rough cut of the film. It was a chance to celebrate and for everybody to see the fruit of their labour. All of the joy that was surrounding them but that they didn't necessarily get to experience. So the party was also an opportunity for Arts Centre Melbourne, Station House Opera and Betty to thank the volunteers for all of their amazing work and for all of us to thank Betty for her great support of the project.
If one needs any gratification, I got it not only from the team, not only from the people who devised the whole program, but I got it from the people who were so happy and who really enjoyed being involved.
Absolutely great feeling of participation and achievement.
So many people coming together for this project.
Yeah.
So many nationalities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've made
nationalities.
friends. We've made friends, and I think we're gonna stay friends. And it's been great.
This is going to be like one of our memories to cherish. So I'm sure that we are not going to forget that.
People ask, what's happening next? What are you doing next? It's like, I don't know, but we'll be there.
Yeah. I had a very sleepless night on Saturday night, but really just reflecting on the thirst from the community for those kind of events, those moments, those new memories, those new opportunities to connect with each other. And I couldn't stop thinking about what more can we do.
What really struck me the most was the sense of unity in the city itself, from the public, from the volunteers, from all of us, from people who had no idea what it was until they stumbled across it in the city. That sense of that we can come together and be all on the same side, cheering for the same thing, the same positive result on the same day, in that same moment was, it makes me emotional just thinking about it.
This is bringing a community together. And people possibly don't realise how important it is what art can do for people.
Somebody I walked past said to her friend, so that was about social change, right? I really love that Dominoes is whatever anybody wants it to be. Yes, it can be about social change, it can be about cause and effect, it can just simply be about the beauty of listening to these blocks fall, it can be about the city, it can be about the people who build it, and it's really people's project for the taking. It can be what you want it to be.